In an instant, the sound of a small keycard hitting the counter cracked through the air like a slap. The silver-blue plastic card was tossed straight into the face of the black man who had just stepped up to the front desk. His sleek suitcase, worth more than most people's cars, tipped to the side and rolled across the polished marble floor. Behind the desk, the tall clerk with slicked back hair folded his arms, smirking as he drawled, "If you can't afford it, don't waste our time." A few scattered chuckles from nearby guests echoed the insult, piling humiliation on top of humiliation. The man simply tilted his head, bent down, and calmly picked up the card. His eyes stayed steady, disturbingly calm. No raised voice, no flash of anger. Just silence so heavy that it sucked the air out of the room. A couple of staff members looked uneasy, but quickly turned away, pretending not to notice. In that moment, everyone assumed he was just another ordinary guest, someone who didn't belong in such a glittering lobby. But his silence, that unshaken composure, carried a weight that made the whole place feel unsettled, as if something bigger was coming. The contrast sharpened the moment a wealthy white couple strolled up to the desk. The same clerk who had sneered a second ago transformed instantly, smiling wide, voice dripping with courtesy. "Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am. It's an honor to serve you." A fresh towel appeared. A glass of cold water slid across the counter. Every gesture polished and eager. All that warmth, all that service, none of it had been offered to the man still standing quietly off to the side. The clerk flicked his chin, signaling for him to move away and make room for important guests. That was the invisible line being drawn, those who were treated with respect and the one who wasn't. The man didn't argue. His jaw tightened just slightly as his hand clamped a little harder on the suitcase handle. The golden glow of the chandeliers couldn't warm the chill creeping through the room. When the couple walked off, the clerk turned back with his usual arrogance, looking the man up and down, his tone stretched out, sharp and dismissive. "Your name? How did you book this? We don't usually accept reservations without a credit card guarantee." He said it like the man was a fraud, a scammer trying to sneak in. The guest quietly gave his name, but the clerk only smirked more. His fingers tapped the keyboard lazily before waving a hand. "You must be mistaken. This hotel is for high-class clients only." A few guests exchanged smirks. Each word landed like another needle of humiliation. Still, the man never lost control. He leaned slightly forward, his deep voice calm, deliberate. "Are you sure you checked carefully?" It wasn't loud, but the weight of it cut through the chatter, freezing the air around them. Something in his gaze, a glint of warning, hinted that the smug clerk was about to regret everything. The tension thickened. He rested one hand on his suitcase, voice steady but unmistakable. "Check the reservation list again. My name will be there." The clerk, Chase, scoffed, lips twisting into a half smile. I've done this long enough to know when someone's trying to sneak into a place they don't belong. "Leave now, or I'll call security." His voice was loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. A ripple of whispers moved through the crowd. The man didn't flinch. His reply was sharp, unyielding. "Check the list." Across the room, Riley, the young bellhop, had been watching. Something about this guest didn't sit right. His instincts told him this wasn't just anyone. Chase slammed the reservation book shut. "I told you your name's not here. Stand here one more second and I'm calling security." His eyes gleamed with a thrill of power, convinced his uniform gave him authority to throw anyone out. But the man only lifted a finger and pointed directly at the computer screen. His voice dropped deep and commanding. "Check again. One last time." The entire lobby went silent. Guests turned fully around, waiting to see what would happen. Chase clenched his jaw, veins pulsing in his temple, fumbling for the phone to call security. That single moment felt like a coin flip. Either the man would be dragged out in disgrace, or something no one expected was about to turn the tables. A soft click broke the silence. A young guest had started recording on his phone, a spark on dry kindling. Others quickly followed, cameras rising, capturing everything. Riley hesitated, then quietly opened the backup system on another monitor. His heart thudded when he saw it. L. Reed, Presidential Suite. His hands shook. He looked at the composed man, then at Chase, who was practically shouting now. The crowd's whispers grew louder. This is going too far. The stage no longer belonged to Chase. The truth was about to break open. Still, Chase doubled down. "This is a 5-star hotel, not a place for anyone who wanders in. "Move over there. That seat isn't for you." He pointed toward the plush VIP chairs near the counter. "Not for you," he repeated. The man's grip on his suitcase tightened, but he remained still, silent, standing tall like a monument of restraint. The insult cut deeper than any words, but he didn't budge. Chase wasn't finished. With a smug grin, he suddenly shoved the suitcase hard. It tumbled across the lobby, springing open, shirts folded neatly, leather-bound folders, and an expensive laptop scattered across the marble. The crash echoed, gasps rippled through the room. Chase crossed his arms, raising his voice so everyone could hear. "See? I warned you." But when the man straightened, his eyes weren't just calm anymore. They were sharp, ice cold. Guests who met his gaze quickly looked away. Riley's stomach twisted. He had the proof right there on the screen. The man wasn't just a guest, he was the owner of the entire hotel empire. Chase barked into his radio, calling for security. Two guards in black uniforms strode forward, hands on their belts, ready to remove the man. The clerk sneered, snatching the room card and shoving it against the man's chest. "You're not welcome here. Get out, now." The lobby froze. Guests held their breath. Phones filmed every second. But the man didn't fight back, didn't resist. He just looked down at the card pressed against him. That silence, the silence of someone who had taken every insult without breaking, wasn't weakness. It was the pause before a storm. Everyone could feel it. The reversal was coming. Just when it seemed the man was about to be dragged away, he slowly glanced at the watch on his wrist. A small gesture, yet it radiated authority. He didn't resist. He didn't shout. Instead, he slipped a phone from his jacket pocket and pressed a single button. The screen lit up, flashing the emblem of an internal app, one instantly recognizable to anyone in luxury hospitality. Riley froze, his breath caught. He knew exactly what he'd just seen, the logo of Reed Hospitality Group. His pulse hammered. The atmosphere shifted. Guests who had been smirking with their phones lowered them, and a few Europeans in the crowd whispered under their breath. Reed? Could it be that Reed? Chase still didn't catch on. He barked again. "Security! Get him out now!" But the guards hesitated. They couldn't explain why, only that some invisible force of authority radiated from the man. His silence had become a weapon, transforming humiliation into the signal of an inevitable reversal. Every eye locked on him, waiting for the spark. He was holding the switch. Then the glass doors at the entrance spun open. A convoy of sleek black cars had just pulled up. Several senior managers hurried inside. At the front strode a middle-aged man in a gray suit, a gold badge glinting on his chest. "Regional Director!" His eyes swept the lobby, then locked instantly on the restrained guest. "Mr. Reed!" His voice thundered through the stunned silence. The lobby exploded. Gasps. Phones trembled in astonished hands. Chase went pale. That one name shattered his illusion of control. He stood frozen, unable to speak. Riley exhaled hard, relief mixing with adrenaline. The guards instantly released their grip and backed away as if they'd just touched fire. The regional director rushed forward, bowing slightly. "Mr. Reed, please forgive us. I had no idea my staff." He didn't need to finish. The truth was out in the open, undeniable. The real power had stepped into the light. And in that instant, the game was no longer Chase's to play. The echo of Mr. Reed still hung in the air as the black man took a measured step forward. He pulled a metal card from his wallet and set it firmly on the counter. Under the chandelier's glow, the engraving gleamed. "Reed Hospitality Group, Chairman." The regional director bent low, voice trembling. "Sir, we are deeply sorry." The crowd erupted in a wave of astonishment. Phones buzzed furiously as the footage spread. Chase looked like stone come to life, ashen, lips trembling. His eyes flicked from the card to the logo to the man himself, Langston Reed, the same man he had mocked minutes ago. The room's energy flipped, scorn turned to reverence. Riley swallowed hard, heart pounding. The realization blazed in his mind. The stranger humiliated before them was no outsider. He was the owner of the entire empire. The lobby fell into breathless silence. Chase had no uniform, no smirk, no power left, only raw disgrace. Langston Reed turned toward him, voice low but rolling like thunder. "This is how you treat your guests?" Chase stammered, sweat beading at his temple. I didn't know if I'd known you were..." Langston cut him off. his gaze sharp enough to cut steel. "You don't need to know who I am to show respect. Every guest deserves dignity." The lobby rippled with murmurs of agreement. The regional director nodded furiously and barked, "Chase Whitaker, you are hereby suspended effective immediately." The same guards who had once grabbed Reed now stepped forward again, but this time to escort Chase out. His face burned red as his name badge was ripped off. Phones captured every second. A few guests even clapped quietly. Riley let out a shaky breath, relief washing over him. Langston remained upright, not gloating, but commanding. His expression carried a weight no one could ignore. He wasn't just punishing arrogance, he was delivering a lesson every staff member in the room would carry. True authority doesn't lie in a uniform, it lies in character. The storm passed, and the atmosphere transformed. Where shame had once hung, respect now filled the space. Guests whispered in awe, their eyes following Langston Reed. He ignored their stares, walking instead to Riley, the young bellhop who had quietly uncovered the truth. He rested a hand on Riley's shoulder, his voice deep but warm. "You had the courage to do the right thing." Riley stiffened, then bowed his head. "Sir, it was the least I could do." For the first time that day, a faint smile touched Langston's lips, one of approval. Another staff member hurried to pull out a VIP chair for him, but he gently waved it away. "I'll stand. What matters is that from this day forward, anyone who walks into this hotel will be welcomed as a valued guest." The words rang through the grand lobby, sparking quiet reflection, then applause, rolling through like a wave. Phones no longer filmed a scandal. They were capturing a rare moment of humanity. Riley's chest swelled with pride. A new chapter had begun not just for the hotel, but for how respect itself would be defined. Days later, the video from that lobby dominated headlines and social feeds. Hotel tycoon Reed humiliated by his own staff, and the comeback that stunned the world. But for Langston, it wasn't about the media storm. It was about the lesson left behind. At a global staff meeting, he stood at the podium, his voice carrying across the hall. Respect is not a privilege reserved for a select few. It is a duty we owe every single guest, no matter what they look like. Behind him, a massive screen lit up with the new company's slogan, "Welcome, every guest." Riley sat in the back row, head held high, pride glowing in his eyes. Langston looked out across the crowd, his smile faint but resolute. "We will not repeat this mistake. From today on, every guest who steps through our doors will feel valued." The applause thundered, rising like a promise. And somewhere, those who had once laughed now understood a simple truth. Real power sometimes stands quietly in plain sight, seen only by those who look with respect.